Hello everyone, Max here, still a CU Denver student ambassador. You might have seen a couple of my videos before, but if not, that's totally fine. Here to talk to you about something that is definitely vital as a student, because after all, you are going to college to learn a lot, to become a master of your subject, or at least be introduced to it. So studying is going to be very important. It's the base, like most one of the most important things you'll do as a student. So I'm going to give you some several tips, and this topic is close to my heart because it's been a wild journey for me. Because I first started, I didn't really have, in high school, I didn't have good studying habits at all, but now I feel like I've really nailed down some good studying habits, and I hope to share them with you. So, first one is just give yourself time to study. What does that mean? When Max tells you give yourself time to study, what does that mean? What that means is really just a specific amount of time, excuse me, for you to just study. So you go to your dedicated workspace, you say, okay, every Tuesday, when I get home from work, I'm going to study for an hour. Or every morning on weekdays, I'm just going to study for 30 minutes and just make it a habit. We'll get into habits later, but just give yourself enough time to study. Don't really cram before a test. Don't do it when you feel like it. Just be like, okay, no pressure, just study. You sit there, try not to multitask. You just study and that's it. Make it enjoyable, and you just that's all you're doing. Okay, and on to the next topic is make studying a habit. That's pretty closely related, I would say, to the first topic I mentioned. But when I say make studying a habit, that really means just getting in the flow of doing it. One of the biggest things I've personally noticed for any kind of productive hobby like running or making music or anything that isn't immediate gratification, like studying, it's not immediate. It takes a lot of work, so it's rewarding in the end. With that, you really have to make a habit. You can't just be like, okay, when I feel divine inspiration, I'll do it. No, it's going to come too far and few between. Really, with studying, you just have to kind of make it a habit, because the biggest barrier I found for productive hobbies is just getting up and doing it. Because you kind of fight with yourself, like, oh, I'll do it when I have more energy. When you just do it, it takes less energy to start doing it because it's a habit, and then you just do it more and you do it for longer. So, just doing things for more and longer time shapes your brain into being able to do that a lot more and a lot more efficiently. Okay, we're going to move on to our next tip, which is a bit general. It's be healthy. And what does that mean exactly as well? That's kind of general, definitely. Well, as a psychology major and someone who just likes brains in general, I know something. Some people might not know this, but it's really good to know in general as a human is that um, your health is directly tied to your cognitive abilities. So, for example, if you um, eat really well, or as well as you can, of course, some cheat meals are good for sure, and you exercise regularly or as regularly as you can. You drink a lot of water. That's also something a lot of people don't do. Drink a lot of water. If you do all those things, your brain literally works more efficiently. You become smarter. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you you're going to gain 30,000 IQ points. It's not going to happen, but your brain will be clearer. Also, meditation, if you're into that. If not, I strongly recommend it. It's helped me a lot personally. Even I started for anxiety, but like on mental health stuff too. But I've noticed that it makes me a lot more focused on what I'm doing. So just any of these general health habits actually change and improve your brain. It's like if you do, upper body exercises like push-ups or something that works out your bicep muscles. Well, meditating and drinking lots of water and exercising, maybe not the water, but that's more of a day-to-day thing. But exercising shapes your brain and makes your brain stronger, so to speak. So if you're healthier in general, you'd be surprised at how long of a way that can go for your overall intelligence. Okay, and the next tip is to identify your best way of studying. And this one's really important to me because it's been something I've thought about a lot. But a lot of people study in a lot of different ways, and a lot of people are either, you might have heard about learning styles, a lot of people either are really good at understanding information visually or auditorily, like hearing it, or like kinesthetically, that might not be the right word, but like using your hands is what that last one is, and actually doing it. So some people like to study with some light instrumental music and reading their textbook. Some people like to study by watching YouTube videos about the topic. Some people like to listen to pre-recorded lectures of their professor if they happen to have those on hand. Some people like to make note cards. So really just identify the way of studying that results in the best retention of information for you personally, and just choose that. And with all the other tips I mentioned earlier, compounded with that, it's going to be really effective. Okay, so our last and final tip is to explain the information to yourself. And that's another really important one too, because what some people didn't know, or what some people don't know, and I certainly didn't know myself, is that even if you give yourself time to read, you make it a habit, you do all these things, but you're just sitting there reading your textbook the whole time and nothing else. That isn't very active learning, and active engagement with the material is the best way to learn. It takes more effort, definitely, um, but that's definitely really important to do. So, for example, if you're just reading a textbook for a long time and you're getting exhausted, it's just like you might be understanding the words, but it might not be really retaining in your mind. So what I recommend for you to do is say it out loud. Be like, okay, what this means, like just murmur to yourself in the dark like a weirdo, I guess that's what I do. But just be like, okay, what this means is this, that, this. Okay. And like when you say it out loud, it opens up, you're using different parts of your brain, new parts of your brain that help you understand the material better, because you have to break it down and explain it to someone. So explain it to yourself, or like have an imaginary person you explain it to, but it makes your brain a lot more active when you study, and it could really do a lot for your studying game for sure. Um, it's kind of likened to language learning, because when you learn a language, one of the most important parts is reading it and understanding it and doing that for a long time. That's good, but also speaking it is really important. So in the same way with studying, reading it is really good, but actually understanding it and saying it out loud and explaining the concepts is really helpful. So that does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.